Hello everybody, I'm the Flaming Witch, but you can call me Flame, and welcome to After Hours, a FNAF fan game visual novel in which we are a new employee at the Mega Pizzaplex, and we are a mechanic who is tasked with the generators in a daycare. And I am very excited for this game. It looks very fun, and I will hope you all enjoy this as much as I hopefully will. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the game. Flame? Flame, wake up. No sleeping on the job. I jolt awake, a bright light in my eyes and someone's hand on my shoulder. While I block it out with my arm, Vanessa finally turns on her flashlight and lightly scoffs in annoyance. How long was I asleep at this table? Lowering my arm, I have a small toolbox in front of me, and my phone is resting where I had my head laid down. Its shape is probably imprinted into my face right now. Good lord, Flame. When was the last time you slept? Probably a week ago. Very funny. Just get up and get started. I'll keep quiet if you do your job, alright? Yeah, sure. Alright, get to it. Vanessa walks off and I stand up and stretch, feeling my joints pop when I raise my arms above my head. Deciding not to waste any more time, I pick up my toolbox and phone before heading through the massive doors after doors leading into the daycare. I cannot talk. The daycare's bright lights and rainbow colors are practically blinding compared to the rest of the pizzaplex. Or maybe I just haven't fully woken up yet. Time to get this over with. I open up a panel behind the desk and cringe at the massive wires into the wall. Oh my god. What is my job? I assume I'm like a technician or something. As much as I wish I could, I can't rush through this. I'll have to deal with each generator one at a time. Whatever. If it means I get to go to sleep sooner, I'll do it. Click the end of each cable to connect in the correct order to proceed. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's the end of them. There we go. Standing back up, I stretch again, palms on my back as I let out a tired sigh. That is, until I hear the faint sound of what I think are gears and other mechanical bits turning, followed by someone landing in the ball pit near the back. I'm pretty sure it's just daycare attendant. After all, they should be the only thing in here, and the small stage leading into their room is directly above the ball pit. Not that I know a lot about them, the staff hasn't said much. And since I'm so new here, I haven't even met them yet. Nor have I met the other animatronics like the Gramrox or DJ. How has the player character not met the DJ? Like, okay, meeting the animatronics directly is different than actually knowing about them, but at the same time, how has he not met the DJ? Most of the robots I've gotten acquainted with have all been staff bots all over the building. I start walking to the ball pit, scanning it for signs of movement as I stand on the edge. That is until... Son! Oh, hey there, friend. I don't remember seeing you around. Are you new here? Something, or someone, jumps up in front of me, and I'm suddenly lifted off the ground. Before I can even answer, I notice his eyes turn a light blue color, scanning me. I'm stunned in the silence, staring at the robot in front of me as he steps out of the ball pit, holding me from underneath my arms as if I weigh nothing. Yeah? Oh, that's fun. It's not every day I see a new member of staff here. It gets pretty empty when all the kids go home, you know. I can't do Son's voice. I definitely have to get used to how energetic this guy seems. He finally sets me back down, making sure I'm able to stand on both feet before letting go. Thanks, and yeah, I'm new here. I'm just finishing up my first week, actually. Ooh, and how's that been? Good, I hope. Yeah, it's gone pretty smoothly so far. Start walking back to my desk, but the tall robot decides to follow me. By the way, could you tell me your preferred name? My name's Sun, but people come up with all sorts of nicknames. Like Sunny, Sunray, Sundew. Some of the kids even call me Sundrop, like the candy. Oh. Not gonna lie, I thought your name was Sundrop until now. Oh, that's fine. A lot of people do, and the name kind of stuck over time, which is fine by me. Actually, that is true. His name is their names are Sun and Moon, but people tend to call them Sundrop and Moondrop, just to make it a little less confusing at times. Cool. My preferred name is Flame, by the way. Well, that's good. Great to meet you, Flame. I can't help but smile a bit. But duty calls, so I make my way to one of the computers on the desk. I can faintly see his face reflected on the screen as he watches what I'm doing. What you need the light for? I have to test all of the generators in here to make sure they're working. Whoever messed with them last time left them a mess, so I have to do it one at a time. Uh-huh. Considering how wordy he's been so far, such a short answer tells me he's up to something. Then again, I just met the guy. I could be overanalyzing. Something wrong? No, I just noticed how tired you look, that's all. I'll be right back. Gonna get something for you. Wait, what? Just something to help you carry you through the night. Judging by how many wires and generators you have to deal with, I have a feeling you might be here for a while. Fair enough. Sun smiles before walking off somewhere. I put in the command to turn off the power in the daycare. The music, once playing from the speakers on the ceiling, comes to a halt. Silence blanketing over the massive daycare as the computer screen becomes my only light source. Removing my flashlight from my belt, I turn it on as I start making my way towards the play structures, since that's where the generators are located, for some reason. It's eerily quiet as I try finding the structure with the first generator. The lack of true ambience forces my footsteps to echo. The glowing red light of one of the generators enters my sight, so I continue on. Somewhere above me, I hear gears turning. Shine my flashlight towards the ceiling, only to see nothing there. Sun? I flinch at the noise, frantically shining my light to see what's there. That didn't sound like sun. He laughs! I've dropped my flashlight and I'm sitting on the ground after stumbling back from being startled. In front of me is a robot I've only seen on the Moondrop posters, giggling hysterically. He seems proud of himself. I sigh, pick up my flashlight, and get back up to continue what I was doing. Well, if I wasn't awake before, I definitely am now. He finally stops laughing after I say that. He makes a noise that sounds like he's clearing his throat before he starts to follow me. Okay, I turned up all the sounds because it was super quiet. So hopefully it's a little bit better on the video now. Sorry for the scare, I couldn't help myself. Sure. I take the first path into the play structure I see, hoping to find the first generator sooner rather than later. You're going the wrong way. Am I? I turn around and he has his arms crossed as he leans against the structure. Yep, I could lead you to the right generator if that would make you feel better. Think about it for a second. If this guy's anything like Sun, hopefully he actually means what he says. Fine. I crawl back out of the structure and he starts leading me to a different path. He clearly knows his way around since we found the generator rather easily. There you go. He sits beside me as I go to turn it on, his glowing red eyes watching me as I do my job. Maybe it's just me, but don't you think those red eyes are kind of intimidating for a daycare attendant? Yes, I've been told that before. It was a bug that made them look like this, but that's been resolved. The red eyes stuck, but they're not hurting anyone. Fair enough. The red does look kind of cool with the blue and white. My thank you. I roll my eyes, a faint smile on my face. Now that I think about it, I never told you my name, did I? I already know. It's Flame. Oh, did Sun tell you? In a way, we're technically the same. You two do look similar. Yes, but that's not all of it. We're two different people, but we share the same body, which means I could see and hear everything happening while you and Sunny met. Oh, so does that mean Sun can still see and hear too? Yes, of course. He says hello. Hello. Look at him! Moon laughs a bit, leaning back against the wall of the play structure. I do think you should continue with that job of yours, though. Oh, right on it. Focusing back on the generator, I flip a switch and watch as the red light on the device turns green. Well, looks like that worked. I flip it again before making my way back out of the structure, and I hear Moon following close behind. Standing up straight, I attach my flashlight to my belt before stretching my arms above my head. I sigh, arms dropping back to my sides as I turn the lights on from my desk. I hear the lights turn back on and the music of the daycare starts playing as I turn around and flinch at the sight of Sun already there, smiling brightly. Hello again. Hey, so you two just switch out whenever you need to? No, it depends on whether the lights are on or not. I'm in charge when the lights are on and Mooney's in charge when they're off. Still don't like that he decided to scare you, though. Weirdly enough, the sight of him irritated with his arms crossed is weirdly endearing. Hey, don't worry about that. I'm on it. I'm over it. Sun just pouts, turning his head away from me. I smile at the sight. Why do they keep the generators in there anyway? Don't you think it would be kind of dangerous to keep the generators in the place kids would be playing in? Okay, so I so fully believe that they only keep them there because it's just easier than putting them somewhere in storage. I think Fazbear Entertainment is just cheap. Oh, well, that's a temporary thing. They've kind of been out of commission, so thankfully they couldn't hurt anyone anyway. And when exactly are these things getting moved? Sun looks like he's about to respond, but goes silent for a minute. I can literally hear the gears turning in his head. He just shrugs. Well, isn't that reassuring? I turn back to my desk so I can keep track of my progress. On it is a short checklist to keep track of how each generator is working. Ah, I start looking around for a pen when Sun sticks his hand in front of my face, holding one with a cute little dinosaur on the cap. Here you go. I smile at the gesture, taking the pen so I can mark my progress. Thanks. Alright, here we go again. I go back to Cable, sighing at the tangled mess I still have to deal with. Something I could just guess, huh? I stand up and take a look at my work. Time to do it all again, I guess. As I go to turn the lights off again, I hear the music blasting from somewhere else, which is weird since usually the radio's off when the Pizzaplex is closed for the night. Any idea what that music is? That's the DJ. He makes his own music, so it's not out of the ordinary to hear it during the night when everyone's gone home. I'd love to be friends with him, but I'm too busy to leave this place most of the time. Really? Yep. When was the last time you left this place? Okay, well technically I've never left. But every hour when the power gets rerouted, Mooney goes on patrol around the Pizzaplex to make sure we don't get any intruders. He says the DJ makes for good company. I rub my eyes, feeling a lack of sleep catching up with me again. The stress of a new job is really taking a toll on my sleep schedule, I think. Why do they need Moon to patrol the place? Isn't that what the staff bots are for? The staff bots will help alert Mooney to anything or anyone that shouldn't be here. I let out a yawn as I go back to the computer. That's cool. Switching the lights off, the daycare once again descends into mostly silence. I hear gears whirring behind me as Moon hums slightly. Still tired, Flame? Yeah. I thought so. I hear Moon step away for a minute. Yawning again, I take my flashlight off my belt as I start to approach the play structure, stopping once I'm a few feet away from the desk. I wait for Moon to come back, since I have a feeling I'll get lost if he doesn't help me with finding the other generators. Hearing the sound of gears roaring above me, I point my flashlight towards the ceiling. He's easier to find this time, probably because he's not trying to startle me again. He lowers himself to the floor, a long cable hooked onto his back from the ceiling. So that's how he flies around the place? There you are. Here, take this. He holds out an already opened soda can for me to take, a grape-flavored fizzy fast to be specific. Thanks. No problem. Sonny meant to get it for you earlier, but I had something different in mind. He has a smug grin on his face. Yeah, you decided to scare me half to death. Come on, live a little. I roll my eyes as I take a long sip from a carbonated heart attack in a can. Checking the watch in my other hand, I see that it's already 1 a.m. For the hour I've spent awake, I've gotten surprisingly little done. Great. You want to help with the other generators or what? Moon's expression didn't change. He just stares at me for a moment before speaking. You sound exhausted. I am exhausted. Shouldn't you take a break then? I take another sip of soda, raising an eyebrow. And do what? Well, I have my hourly patrol to take care of. We can always tag along. You know what? Yeah, sure. Just as long as Vanessa doesn't see me, I guess. Moon's smile grew ever so slightly at my statement, but it seemed like more of a genuine smile than his gremlin look from earlier. I doubt that'll happen. The Pizzaplex is a big place, so the chances of her running into us are rather small. I know, but still. Trust me, it won't happen. Besides, you need to take it easy for a while. You look like you'll pass out if you stand here for too long. I'd love to if I didn't have a job to do. Cable's still attached to his back. Moon hovers ever so slightly above the ground before approaching me. Not right now, you don't. Without another word, Moon wraps his arms around my torso before the cable lifts him up at least 40 feet above the ground. Wah! I panicked. I cling onto him as I stare at the ground far beneath us. Moon doesn't seem to react, simply navigating through the air, carrying me with him. Don't worry, I won't drop you. You better not. Moon clearly knows this place like the back of his hand, because it only takes around a few minutes for us to reach the atrium. The giant holograms of the glam rocks still active despite the Pizzaplex being closed for the night. We pass over a few security bots who pay us no mind. Occasionally one will look up at us and then continue on with the same blank expression as every other bot. I eventually start to get used to being this high off the ground. Moon says nothing as he scans the area for intruders, thankfully seeing nothing out of the ordinary. Moon lands on a railing of the 3rd floor of the atrium, likely about to change directions and head somewhere else. That is, until an alarm starts blaring from one of his speakers and he suddenly turns to look in a different direction. Hopping off of the railing, Moon sets me down before hovering off the ground again. Stay here. One of the staff bots alerted me to an intruder. Before I can get another word in, Moon leaves, pushing off the railing to give himself a boost as he flies off. Sighing, I look up when I see another staff bot looking at me, seemingly confused. Just guessing by the way it stops and tilts its head when it sees me. It's hard to tell what these guys are thinking when they basically can't emote. I point at the bot. You saw nothing. The bot says nothing, probably because it has no mouth. And not an understanding before going to sit in one of the booths at El Chips. Staring at the menu on the other side of the small restaurant, I remember something important. I haven't eaten anything since, what, this morning? Maybe that's why I feel so out of it. If only I can inhale the pictures of food on the wall. Try the next best thing and search behind the counter for basically anything that's edible. I found can't talk. I found an unopened bag of nachos. Good enough. I head back to the booth, opening the bag of chips and eating my makeshift lunch. It's not even lunch, it's 1 in the morning. Peering back into the atrium, the bot isn't there anymore. From where I'm sitting, it looks like the number of staff bots around seems pretty sparse in general. Maybe they're gone to where Ramoon is? Not that I know where he went anyway. I don't think much of it, simply continuing to fuel up on chips while listening to the droning ambience of the many bright lights in the atrium. Oh, that's not a pleasant sound. I can feel my ears ringing from the silence. That and the sound of me eating the chips alone becomes deafeningly loud. The lack of ambience is almost unbearable. Standing up, I go to throw away the now empty chip bag, one hand on my head as my vision goes blurry for a moment. Walking back to the railing, I lean against it, looking down and squeezing my eyes shut as I try to quell this nauseating feeling. When I open them again, my vision is still fading in and out while a strange red overlay seems to wash over what little I'm able to still see. Oh, it's Vanny! Suddenly back, I look around for one of the staff bots for help, disoriented by whatever is happening to me. But instead of a staff bot, why did the music just cut out? What I vaguely see approaching me from the right is a gray humanoid silhouette and two bright red eyes fixated on me. Startled, I make a run for the stairs, hoping to find a staff bot somewhere nearby. My vision still hasn't fixed itself. In fact, it's gotten worse, as I misstep and tumble down the first short flight of stairs. I force myself back up, using the railing for support before something grabs the back of my shirt. Hold on to the railing. Oh god! I don't let go of the railing as I look behind me, now more clearly seeing the face of a gray rabbit costume with bright red eyes and a gaping black grin. What are you? I can't even hear my own voice. The ringing drowns it out completely as whoever it is successfully drives me away from the railing and back up the stairs as I try to grab at anything I can. Reduced to a ragdoll, it gets harder and harder for me to try and escape as I'm dragged back into El Chips. The ringing is overpowered by the sound of my own heart pounding in my head. We're nearing the kitchen at the back of the small restaurant, blocked off by a metal door. I'm running out of time. I try kicking my attacker, but they seem unfazed, using just one arm to drag me back, as the other one wields a large kitchen knife. They're going to kill me. I'm just barely able to cling onto the corner of the counter, trying to buy whatever time I can. I try calling for help for someone, anyone to help me, unsure if I can even be heard as my grip on the counter starts to slip. My attacker has both hands on the back of my shirt and is pulling hard. One of my hands slips from the counter. I can't hang on much longer. I'm going to die. Moon! Help me! My hand slips from the counter, and I'm dragged back. I'm practically clawing at the floor, but the costume stranger yanks me back before pushing open the door to the kitchen and throwing me in. There's no lights on in here, so I'm almost completely drowned in darkness as I land on the cold tile floor, save for the small beam of light coming from beyond the door. Looking behind me, I see that bit of light start slipping away as the attacker's silhouette stands to merge with the darkness, their red eyes being the only thing I see, and probably the last thing. The beam of light from beyond the door floods back into the room, and the gray rabbit is nowhere to be seen. My vision finally starts to clear up as I look towards whatever landed nearby. A different pair of red eyes looks back at me and lunges at me before two familiar robotic arms grab me and pull me out of the kitchen and into the atrium. I can finally see clearly. The ringing noise is completely replaced by my racing heartbeat. Flying back from the atrium to the daycare, Moon's grip on me is so strong that he's on the verge of crushing my spine. He finally starts to slow down as we pass over the daycare wall, the once eerie silence hanging over us. He makes a smooth landing on the floor, the cable on his back unhooking and retreating back to the ceiling as I'm placed on the ground. He doesn't let go, though. It almost feels like his arms are shaking. Or maybe that's me. I can't see his face. He's slouched in a way where my head is almost resting on his shoulder, and he's staring at the floor. His arms finally loosen, as if he just let out a relieved sigh before letting me go. I myself can't find words for what just happened. Whenever I open my mouth to speak, my mind completely blanks. Instead, I drop to the floor. My fight or flight is still kicked in, and my hands are shaking uncontrollably. Moon's expression darkens slightly. Does he want to say something? His faceplate turns slightly, and he walks over to something on the floor a few yards away. My flashlight. He suddenly picks it up and returns it to me. I'm pretty sure I can hear his fans revving up, and he looks like he's deep in thought. He sits down in front of me, resting his faceplate on the palm of his hand. Did she hurt you at all? I fidget with the flashlight for a bit. Battery's dead. No, thank God. Good. I'm sorry for not being there sooner. It's fine. You could have died. Well, I didn't. You still showed up quickly enough that it didn't happen, so barely. Why do you care so much anyway? I basically just got here and, well, you barely know me. This is my job. I don't just look after the kids that come in and out of the daycare. Everyone that steps into the building is my responsibility. And now, that includes you too, Flame. Lynn suddenly gets back up and walks over to the massive doors by the desk. Where are you going? Locking this place up. Whoever attacked you is still in the building. I can't leave you alone here to go deal with it myself, and bringing you with me is too risky. I watch as Moon moves various objects in front of the door, from desk chairs to smaller play structures. There isn't anything decently heavy enough to barricade the door. Can't you just lock it? I already did, but I'm not taking my chances. Eventually, I'm able to stand up and go over to the charging dock by the desk to recharge my flashlight. Flame. I'm guessing you'd rather get out of here sooner rather than later, right? Not in a rush to leave by myself, really. I live alone, so, well, still, you can't stay here forever. Well, whenever you want to keep going with the generators, just say the word. Right. Remove my flashlight from the charging deck, and sure enough, it works. Turn it on and point it back at the structures. Shall we? Moon nods, and we waste no time in finding the next generator. Thankfully, it works just fine now. With that over with, we go back to the desk and turn the lights back on. Speaking of which, I wonder how Sun's taking all of this. Moon did say they can both see and hear everything happening, even if they're not the one piloting the robot's body. I catch a glimpse of the time as I'm turning the lights back on. 2 a.m. The daycare slowly lit up, and as usual, the music comes back on. Even with the cheerful music, the moon remains heavy as ever. However, I'm given no time to think as I'm spun back around by a very worried Sun, frantically checking me up for injuries. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay, Flame, you poor thing? You must have been so scared. I'm so sorry we weren't there sooner. If only we knew, we would have... Don't worry, I'm okay. Sun, don't worry about it. I'm okay. Sun still looks guilty. He continues to stretch my arms and torso to see if I'm hurt, but at least he isn't pulling me around like a rag doll. I have to worry. Keeping everyone safe here is my job. If I can't protect one person, then... Sun is visibly distraught. His rays are practically drooping. Seems that didn't help much. Come in with a hug. It's a bit of a reach, considering how tall he is compared to me, even when kneeling. But I managed to wrap my arms around Sun's torso, hoping that'll calm him down. Sun doesn't say anything, but instead hugs me back. His internal fan's getting much louder. He has one arm around my I can't speak! He has one arm around my torso, and one hand softly holding the back of my head. It's a gentle hug. Feels safe. We say nothing for a few minutes. I was trying to calm him down, but honestly, this hug is a huge comfort for me too. No wonder they're trusted with kids. Even as an adult, I feel an odd sense of security around them. Considering what just happened, it feels nice. Question? Huh? What was Moon alerted to anyway? Oh, a little boy snuck in to see Freddy again. He seems irritated when he says that. Again? Yep, this isn't the first time the little rule breaker snuck in here. Something tells me that security isn't as strict as you would think, though, if a kid managed to sneak in more than once. But if he just wanted to see Freddy, then I don't really see a problem with it. It's not like the kid's hurting anyone, and I doubt Freddy's gonna let him get in trouble. Seems almost playfully bitter. What did this kid even do? Maybe I should ask later, though. I have to keep going with the generators. Is it Gregory? I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Gregory continuing to break in. I don't get very far, though, before I'm suddenly picked up by Sun. What the? Where are we going? Sun manages to carry me with one arm, using the other one to move various other objects in front of the massive door. Making sure no one's getting in here. Can you put me down, though? No! After all, there's no way I can leave you on your own now. I keep losing Sun's voice. What happens if the person finds you here and we're not around? Sun, we're in the same room. If that person somehow got in, I'm pretty sure you'd notice. Looking up Sun's face, I noticed a long cable lower from the ceiling and hooks onto Sun's back. You heard, Moon. We're not taking any chances. Suddenly jerk upward, and I'm lifted into the air along with Sun, albeit much faster and more recklessly than Moon. Hey, at least let me call Vanessa first. I don't think she even knows about that freak, since the staff bots didn't react at all. Oh my gosh, you're right. Okay, but we're making it quick. Sure thing. Sun suddenly changes direction in the air, and we start heading back towards the desk. However, I think Sun tried dropping him from his weight, from this height way too early, as we basically start free falling towards the ball pit. No. Grab onto Sun. I'm just barely able to grab onto Sun before gravity takes me. We're both tangled in the cable, though. Once again, we're stunned in silence. Just when I thought things were coming down, I feel my heart going a mile a minute from adrenaline, and Sun's internal fans are on full blast. I keep clinging onto Sun for dear life, and we're slowly lowered into the ball pit. Clutching my chest with one hand over my heart, I'm able to get out of the tangled mess pretty easily. Sun is clearly having a harder time though, just thrashing in tangled cable. Sun, chill. Let me get you out of that. No, no thanks. I'm fine. I can get out myself. I sigh, standing in silence for about a minute as Sun fails to get himself out. Sun finally stops, his face plate drooping in defeat. Do you want my help now? Fine. Alright then, hold on for a second. Getting him out of the cable isn't hard. Once I'm done, I unhook the cable from his back and let it retreat back to the ceiling. I gave Sun a minute before I decided to speak again. Do you want to get out of the ball pit now? Yeah. I can't tell if he's upset or embarrassed at what just happened as we exit the ball pit and make the walk back to the desk. That's kind of why I don't use the cable, funnily enough. I just leave it to Moon. Oh really? Actually, I kind of get it now. Not to diss you or anything, but Moon seemed to know what he was doing, I think. Yep, he has a lot more practice because of patrols, plus being active whenever the kids are sleeping. So he doesn't go free falling and end up tangled in the cable? Well, no, but I could do it just as well. Hey, I'm not doubting it at all. You just need more time to practice. You tried your best, so I can't really be mad. Sun smiles sheepishly as his rays spinning a bit. Well, I mean, you think so. How he manages to say this enduring is beyond me. He really is as sunny as his name. Can't hold back a smile as I go to pick up my phone from my desk. Glancing back at Sun, I pull up Vanessa's contact and, I can't speak! I pull up Vanessa's contact on my phone and hold it out for Sun to take. You want to call Vanessa for me? I can work on the next generator in the meantime. Yes, please! Sun wastes no time in grabbing the phone and calling Vanessa, and I leave him to it as I go to sort out the next mess of cables. Can't I just... I can just cheat it. Okay. Standing up straight, I stretch my arms over my head as I glance back at Sun on the phone. He has the device held in front of him, probably in speaker mode, and he seems concerned. Not that I was really paying attention to what he was doing just now. There's no need for that. I'm sure you'll see what I mean if you look at the cameras. Maybe not right now, but whenever you have the time. He's waving his other hand in front of him nervously, and his rays have shrunk a bit. What did Vanessa say to him? Sun glances over at me for a moment before Vanessa starts talking again, and he sets his attention back on the phone. If something really did happen, the staff bots would have let me know. But what if they didn't? That shouldn't be possible. I'd believe it if it was just one bot, but there's no way that many of them would just stop working out of nowhere. Well, what if they didn't think this person was dangerous? Son, that's not possible. They're supposed to go off if they see someone that shouldn't be here. Look, I don't want to completely rule out what you're saying, but what you're telling me just doesn't add up. Ask Flame about it later. I have to go check on that kid again. Before Sun can respond, Vanessa hangs up. His arms drop in defeat as I make my way over to him, and he hands back the phone. You okay? Sun forces a smile and waves his hand in front of him nonchalantly. Yeah, I'm fine. Just worried? Yeah, no kidding. She said it was a weird bug we had a while back that maybe it was making me see things that weren't there. A bug? It's a long story. Oh, it's the virus. Wait, so why is Vandy still here? But she thought maybe I was hallucinating a rabbit we used to have here when I told her the person was dressed like a rabbit. What? Yep, I tried telling her it was real since you were there and all. There used to be a rabbit here? Yeah. I don't know much about him other than his name was Bonnie, and he used to be one of the glam rocks. Huh? Yeah, the others don't really like to talk about it, so... I guess that's something else we can ask Vanessa about later. Maybe? Remember what I'm supposed to be doing, I put my phone back in my pocket and go to the computer to shut off the lights for a third time. Halfway there. Glancing at the little digital clock in the corner of the screen, I keep a mental note of the time. 3 a.m. Sigh, not wasting any more time in turning the lights off, watching as the room dims around me, and the only source of light are the screens and the little charging station on the wall. Yawning, I step back from the computer. I know I have to hurry up and get this done, but now that my adrenaline is starting to wear off, I don't know if I can. I sigh and glance back at Moon, who's giving me a knowing look. Tired again, Flame? Yeah. Probably a mix of adrenaline and sugar starting to wear off. Maybe I was hallucinating the rabbit after all. I smile slightly at my joke. Moon, however, seems less than amused, giving me a deadpan stare. I clear my throat, reading the room and taking my flashlight back out. Taking my flashlight, making my way a few steps past the desk. However, when I look at Moon, I notice the cable lowering behind him. He points a finger at me as he starts hovering over the ground. Stay here. I'll be back. With that, he leaves, the cable allowing him to maneuver over the barriers of the daycare and disappear. Triggering and lowering my flashlight, I stay put. Not like I was going anywhere anyway. I eventually decided to sit on the floor with my legs crossed and my chin resting on my palm. Since I have nothing better to do, I look around at my surroundings. Several towers of stacked foam cans, a sparkling floor, and large cutouts of the glamour animatronics that decorate the place. For a place that's full of kids during the day, it's weirdly organized. Probably because of Sun. He did say that he never left the place, and I can imagine keeping it looking nice is a big reason why. I can't help but feel kind of bad, though. Sun and Moon's entire lives are in this daycare. I know they have each other, but I can't imagine spending all my time in such a small area. My train of thought is cut off when a pair of red eyes peer at me from just beyond the barrier. I sigh, pushing myself back up. There you are, Moon. Are we gonna? A loud ringing hits my ears, and I jump, dropping my flashlight. What? Covering one of my ears with one hand, I try to pick it back up, and a familiar red haze overlays my vision. With it now back in my hands, I pointed in the direction of the eyes. However, they disappear as quickly as they came, and the noise in my ears fades into nothing but the subtle ambience within the daycare. My arms drop to my sides. I hear the familiar sounds of gear and robotics. When I look up, Moon is already re-entering the daycare. I'm not even sure if what I saw was real, or my mind playing tricks on me due to stress. Either way, I try taking deep breaths to calm my rapidly beating heart as Moon approaches me, the gable unhooking from his back and retreating back up. I wanted to do a quick check around the daycare, just to keep an eye on things. Also, I brought you this. He gives me an open can of Fizzy Faz, and although reluctantly I take it. So nothing out of the ordinary? So far, no. That's good. Stares at me for a moment as I take a long sip of soda. Somehow it tastes even sweeter than normal. Did something happen while I was away? Your heart's racing. I'm gonna tell him the truth. Well, Lynn's expression softened as he waits for me to answer. I was over here, waiting for you to come back, and over there. I poured to where I saw them, just past the barrier. I saw these red eyes. I thought it was you at first, but then I started hearing this loud noise. Moon's eyes widened slightly. It was the same thing I heard when the rabbit lady attacked me, so Moon looks to where I'm pointing and takes a few steps towards it. Did it look like she was trying to get in? I don't know. She was just there. And right before you showed up, she just, vanished. I can hear Moon's internal fans getting louder. Hopefully that means she can't get in here. Yeah, that would be nice. The fact that she knows you're here isn't good, though. You don't say. Taking another long drink of the soda, using my other hand to point my flashlight towards the structures. Shall we now? Moon tilts his head at me. Shouldn't you give it a minute? Why? I don't think trying to work with this level of stress is a good thing. I'll be fine. I've managed the past 12 hours on like 10 minutes of sleep. I'll live. Moon gives me a bewildered look, sighing in annoyance. Okay, we can check this one generator. Then you're taking a break. Sure. The begrudgingly given for now. Moon nods his head at the structures, motioning for me to follow him as he leads me into the next generator. I set the soda can on the ground by the structures before I follow Moon in. He plops down next to the generator, looking over at me. Go on. I nod, putting my flashlight down so I can test the generator. The machine LEDs turns green, and as the mechanics come roaring to life. Good, no problems. I do notice that my hand holding the switch is shaking a bit, though, more than normal. Something wrong. What? You're just staring at it. Oh. I switch the generator back off and pick up my flashlight before making my way back out of the structure. After picking up the soda can I left on the ground, I wait for Moon to follow, lightly tapping my foot on the ground. Moon stands back up, albeit still slouching, and gives me a concerned look. Are you sure you're alright? Yeah? Why? Moon points at my hand holding the flashlight. I didn't realize it, but I'm gripping the thing way tighter than I thought. I loosen my hold on it as I start walking back to my desk. See why I told you to take a break now? I roll my eyes. Yeah. Anyway. Moon stays silent, leaning back against the desk as I put down the soda and turn the lights on. I mark my progress and turn my flashlight off, watching as Sun sits on the desk, lightly kicking his legs back and forth. So, break time? I sighed. I can't. I have to finish this. Hey, you said you'd take a break after that one. Sorry, but I can't keep dragging this out. Come on, Flame, please. I make my way to the cables on the floor, being extra careful as I go to sit down since my hands are still shaking a lot. Oh my god, what the hell? Okay. You're shaking. You're just shaking. It's not safe to do that now. Technically, he's not wrong. Hell, I'm practically vibrating. You sure that was a soda, not an energy drink that Moon gave me? I know Sun's race drinking a bit, and he's avoiding eye contact. Sun? Sun, what did you do? Okay, maybe, but some sun drops in the drink. I thought it would help. He says it so fast that his words start blending together, but I can still understanding. Seriously? I'm sorry. Sun lets go of my wrist, staring at the ground like a kicked puppy. Sun! Uh-huh. Try to go back to the cables, only for Sun to drag me over to the desk again. Sun, really? I know I messed up, but messing with the cables and machines with shaky hands isn't safe. I sigh. You really think so? Sun stares at me for a second before nodding. I raise my eyebrow at him, but decided to stop resisting. Alright, fine. Sun doesn't say anything for a moment before suddenly picking me up. But, 1 second. I notice the cable lowering. Good lord, not again. Sun, no. I'll be careful this time. The cable lifts us off the ground much more slowly this time. Okay, he isn't messing around this time. Since he's not rushing this time, the ride isn't nearly as reckless. We're only in the air for a few moments before the Sun steps onto the small balcony that leads into his room. Okay, why are we here? Just a precaution, that's all. Sure. Taking a good look around at the room behind him, it feels oddly lonely compared to the daycare. There's a small staircase leading into the space, which is only faintly illuminated by the bright fluorescent lights behind us. There's some fairy lights strung onto the wall, but several of the bulbs are broken or dim. The floor is wooden and looks like it hasn't been swept in ages, and there's various random objects strewn around the floor. Plushies, stools, foam shapes, and other things. In the corner next to the chair is a broken staff pot, and its body mangled and its head ripped off. I hear Sun give a nervous chuckle. It clearly noticed me staring at his, less than colorful living space. Welcome to my room. Ask why it's so dreary. For someone so happy, this place feels sad. I didn't mean that as an insult or anything, just the vibe I'm getting. No, I get that. Normally we don't get visitors, and we're so busy that we never really considered it. Huh. Well, Sun goes and plops down onto a single beanbag chair in the corner of his room. Whatever you want to do up here, feel free. Okay. I look around for a bit, seeing if anything in particular catches my eye. One corner is covered in various drawings, most likely from the kids Sun and Moon look after on a daily basis. There's also a few messy ragdolls and other little things that made to look like them, placed neatly on a table. Another corner, what appears to be a hole, leads into another room. My eye lands on Sun again. The damaged stopbot head rests in his lap as he tries to reattach its head. Oh, Sun! He doesn't even seem to notice me watching at all. Seeing how careful he's being with it makes me wonder how that bot got up here in the first place. Maybe I should leave that question for later. Let's ask about the drawings. What's this? I point to the corner filled with drawings. Sun beams when he looks at it. Those are all gifts from the kids. Mooney and I have been keeping each and every one of them. Sun's head tilts, his fingers lightly tapping the hardwood floor as he goes on about all the drawings and things the kids made specifically for him and Moon. Got any favorites? My eyes are directed towards the little felt plushie of Sun. The fact that it's handmade is evident, with buttons for eyes and dried white glue all over the seams. I can't pick a favorite. I love all of them. I stifle a laugh. That's sweet. Sun laughs nervously, but before he can say anything, the fairy lights give a brief flicker before dying out. Oh, come on. I just watch as they transform into Moon, who seems surprised. Oh, those cheap lights probably burned out. Ah, I can't say I'm surprised. Don't tell anyone I said this, but the people in charge of this place aren't known to splurge. I'm not arguing with you. I will give them some credit, though. If it weren't for them being stingy, I might not even be here right now. What? Remember that bug we mentioned? I nod. Moon leans back in the chair a bit, facing the ceiling. If you want, I can tell you some things. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious. It would definitely explain some things, like how Moon got the red eyes and why the generators are in the play structures. I nod before dragging a small cushion a bit closer to where Moon is and sit down. Ugh, where do I start? Well, how exactly did you two deal with that bug? I'd say Sun was the one who left to deal with it. The lights in here were kept on at all times, meaning Sunny was always active. As for me, I was in full control of myself. So the bug mainly affected you, technically. However, I would be lying if I said Sun wasn't affected at all. While the staff was using the generators to deal with me, Sun was left on his own for a while. I won't go into detail, but I can't imagine what that felt like for him. Sun would go weeks without seeing anyone, while still having me to deal with. He sighs, arms spread out onto the floor as he stares at the ceiling. I should have fought against the bug harder than I did. Well, that certainly clears some things up, but it still doesn't answer everything. I still have no exactly what the bug did to Moon, but from what I can tell, it sounds pretty bad. That and how the bug came about in the first place is still a mystery to me. Maybe now isn't the time to ask. Well, you weren't in control of yourself, right? No, I wasn't, but then stop being so hard on yourself. I'd say you're more than making up for it now, and I think Sun agrees with me. Yeah, he does. Exactly. Ah, look at him! Only the rest of the staff were just as nice. How are you feeling now? What? Is all the extra sugar stuff starting to wear off? I completely forgot about that, even though that's why I'm up here in the first place. I stopped shaking, which is definitely a good sign. Yeah, I think so. Alright then. Moon gets up and walks to the balcony and as the cable lowers to his head. Or level. Whatever. Ready to continue? Yeah, one sec. Checking my phone for the time and any new notifications, I push myself off the floor, one hand on the curtain-covered wall for support. However, I feel something stick to my palm when I pull my hand away. Playing off with the other hand, I realize it's a piece of paper that's likely been taped to the wall. What catches my eye, though, is one word written in bold black letters. Missing. I don't get a good look at the small poster before Moon's voice snaps me out of it. Flame? Yeah. I look over the poster with the curtain before speedwalking to Moon. Lights from the daycare shining onto the balcony cause Moon to transform back into Sun, who waves at me. Ready? Ready as I'll ever be. Wasting no time, Sun picks me up and brings me back down to the desk. My mind wanders back to the poster. The only other detail I got was that the victim is 7? No! What the just a kid. So, what did you think, huh? Of what Moon told you about that bug? Oh. Must have been hard for you both. I think it must have been really hard for you too. Since Moon wasn't in control of himself and you're basically isolated in here for what, weeks? Sun sighs as we walk to the desk, unhooking the cable from his back. I don't really like thinking about it, but yeah. It does make me appreciate how things are now, though. It also makes me appreciate having Mooney around too. Not having him around for that long was not fun. I shrugged. Hey, I'd say you two at least learned something from it. Not that it completely cancels it out, but, you know. Sun nods, smiling brightly as usual. I sigh, glancing around at the menu cables. Take my phone out of my pocket and check the time. 5 a.m. While I'm officially pulling an all-nighter, nothing I'm unfamiliar with. Okay, Stay seated on the floor for a minute, stretching my arms above my head as I lay down on a cold, hard tile. Sleeping in that chair definitely didn't do my back any favors. I closed my eyes for a minute to block out the fluorescent light pouring into my eye. Not that it really helps. Hints of orange and yellow managed to break through. I stay like that for a minute until something blocks out the light. Opening them, I see Sun standing over me, hands on his knees. Are you okay, Flame? Toss an arm over my eyes. Yeah, all good. Need a hand? I hear his footsteps as he moves around me, a good enough sign to peek out from under my arm as any. Sun's giving me his outstretched hand. Breathing out a laugh, I set my arm beside me as I use my other to grab his. He smiles brightly as he pulls me up, putting his other hand on my shoulder to rebalance. Thanks. No problem. Sun gives me a pat on the shoulder before starting to walk back to the desk. I'm about to follow him, but I stop when I notice something. A few handprints on his back, along with bits of what I'm assuming is paint and marker ink. Sun? Yes? Is that paint on your back? Oh! Sun laughs bashfully, waving his hand. That's nothing. You know how kids are. Well, yeah, I figured. Does the maintenance staff help you with that at least? All he does is fidget with his hands eyes towards the computer. Well, that answers it. I can't think of something helpful to say. If the staff already can't be bothered to keep tabs on him, who am I to try to change that? All I can do is leave it alone, I guess. No, I should have asked! So, you're sure you're fine? Sun nods, the bell's on his wrist emitting a soft chime as he gives me a double thumbs up. You think whoever's at parts of services would be more on top of things? Well, I'm sure they're busy. There's no need to bother them. Every part of Sun's body is giving a different signal. His hands wave everything off, his rays shrink back, and a smile is forcing its way onto his face. Something wrong? No. I blink. Sun clearly knows that I'm not convinced. Just, they're busy enough as is. Wouldn't want them worrying about us. Is this about the bug? Sun staring at the floor, one hand fidgeting with the ribbons around his wrists. He nods. Well, you want to talk about it? If it's not, it's... No. Mooney already let you on. It's only fair that I get to tell you some things too, right? You insist. Well, while the daycare was closed, we weren't really seeing anyone. And of course, the staff didn't stick around long when they had to come in here. They mainly stopped to install the generators and make sure they were working to keep Moon away. And I heard some of them talking once. One of them asked if they really needed to keep, both. To keep both of us around after, oh. So that's why he doesn't like parts and services. He's still worried that they're gonna get rid of Moon. Everything's fine now, I know that. I just still can't help but worry. I don't know if I can handle being completely alone here. Moon did mention Sun being isolated for a while. But if the Sat did all that just to keep Moon at bay, huh. Well, you clearly didn't like the idea of being separated like that. Sun nods. But hey, imagine if instead Moon just had his own body. What? You know, you both get your own bodies and you don't do the thing where you switch when the lights are turned off and on, you know? I shrug. Sun seems to be deep in thought. That happened. I hear the gears turning. Literally. Oh my gosh! I could finally hug him! I jump slightly, not expecting Sun to shout like that. Well, someone has his priorities set. But, yeah, there's food for thought. You can't eat, though. Really? Yes? Why would we? I heard stories about one of the Glamrocks eating trash. I thought maybe... What? Nothing. To be fair, that would explain why their mouth doesn't open. Maybe I should try steering this conversation back on track. So, how do you feel about things are now? I fidget with the scroll button on the computer mouse. Glancing at the time, we're already almost halfway through the hour. Didn't think my shift would include this much talking. At least that makes the job more interesting than sorting cables in silence. I can definitely say I like how things are. It feels nice knowing everything is mostly back to normal. That's good, at least. Sun suddenly grabs my shoulders and forces me to face the computer. Keep going, then. I don't want to keep you from your responsibility for too long. Fair enough. I look back at the time and sigh as Sun sits on the desk again. I would have inhaled a whole bottle of melatonin pills if I knew I'd be up, let's say. Sun seemed to do a double take, pointing at me like he wants to say something before backing off. What? Language! I raise an eyebrow, cracking at a slight smile at his antics. Sun, I'm an adult, and there's no one around. I know, it's just force of habit. Stinker at that. Even when he's not working, he has a filter. It's kind of cute, not gonna lie. Ah! Look at Hamba. Sun says nothing for a moment, his ray spinning as he sits cross-legged on my desk. What? I shrug, checking my phone for notifications. Just the fact that you don't cuss at all. You definitely could. It's not like you get in trouble for it. But you just, don't. Well, I have to. I'd rather that than even risk saying something bad in front of the kids out of habit. How about Moon? Does he have a 24-hour filter? Yeah, about that. I think a bug affected his filters a bit, so... It's not funny. It kinda is. Sun silently puts both hands on either side of my head before gently making me turn the face to the computer before letting go. I roll my eyes, once cracking and smile at his antics. Alright. See you in a bit. The usual. Lights out, Moon's out, sitting cross-legged on the desk. So about that filter. Yes, I can say fuck. What about it? Ah! That's so awesome! I blinked, not expecting that, or at least not expecting him to do that so soon. Nothing. I step away from the desk, feeling a headache coming on when I start walking towards the play structures. Thankfully, it feels like a normal, I only slept for 10 minutes headache, and not the weird laboratory is about to kill me headache. Yeah, never did I think I'd be happy for my headaches to be from lack of sleep, and as if this night couldn't get any weirder. Moon hops off the desk and catches up with me. Honestly, I think I deserve workers' comp for this, because I'm definitely not getting paid enough to barely survive nearly being murdered by a woman in a rabbit onesie. Don't joke like that. Right. Moving on. That aside, you'd be lucky if they even believe you. Moon makes a gesture asking for me to follow, and I tag along as he guides me towards the fourth generator. Not that it's your fault, they're just not what you call urgent. Again, don't tell anyone I said that. I'm not trying to get scrapped anytime soon. Yeah, good plan. I can faintly see the red light of the generator behind the frame of the center structure. There's one more after this and I'm home free. One more and I'll get to leave. I'll leave not knowing when or if I'll get to see these two again. Might as well get any questions out of the way now. Hey, random question. Oh, fuck. No, this is rude. Ask where the bug came from. If you don't mind me asking about the bug again, well, any idea where it came from in the first place? Bugs don't just spawn out of nowhere unless someone messed with your programming or something. Moon doesn't say anything for a bit as he guides me through the structure. I can't say for sure, but it was definitely some kind of tampering. Think it was malicious or just some sort of oversight? Well, it seemed very intentional, so I doubt it was just a mistake in my code. But at least we shouldn't have to worry about it anymore. We shouldn't? That's good. My mind wanders back to the poster I saw in his room. I'm hoping that I'm just overthinking this, and the poster being there is just an unfortunate... No! That's not implying that Moon might have been the reason for the 7-year-old to go missing. No. However, my thoughts are cut off when Moon suddenly turns and sits right next to the generator. Your turn, Flame. I nod, shuffling over and flipping the switch, listening to whatever motors and mechanisms are inside power on as the LED lights flicker to green. 4 down, 1 to go. I turn off the generator as Moon makes a head start back out, and I scramble to follow him. Moon stands up straight, letting out what sounds like a sigh as he stretches his arms above his head. For a moment, I'm reminded how tall he and Sun actually are, just as he goes right back to his usual slouch stance. Moon notices me looking and tilts his head slightly. What? Christ, you're tall. Moon looks at me, confused, like if I just asked if the sky is orange. And that's it? Well, yeah, didn't really think about it until now, but my god, you're built like a whole giraffe. Moon snickers at my comment, leaning back against the structure behind us. Look at him! Should I take that as a compliment? Yes. I'm flirting with the moon. Moon crosses his arm, looking down at me while he waits for my response. Flame. Oh. No. Jesus Christ, why is he looking at me like that? Oh my god, why is he looking at me like that? This is very awkward for me. Yeah. I gave him an awkward thumbs up as if I didn't just forget how the English language worked. Moon shakes his head as he starts walking back to the desk. Cute. Ah! Am I really flirting with a robot right now? Maybe it's about time I do some serious introspection. Or I pretend that's entirely normal in hopes that it happens again. My god, Flame, no! Focus! I quickly snap myself out of whatever I was just experiencing. Of course, I follow him back, stopping at the counter. Last one, Flame. I know. Last one. Feels kind of weird knowing it's almost over. Earlier, it felt like I was making no progress, and now I'm about ready to leave for the night. Glancing at the clock, it reads 6 a.m. My hand on the mouse, I stare at the screen with the option to turn the lights back on. Maybe it's just paranoia over something bad happening when I step out the door, but part of me doesn't want to leave yet, even though I already know I can't stay forever. I guess Moon caught me staring in his face, though, as he waves a hand in front of my face. Flame. I blink, snapping back into reality. Huh? It looks like you were spacing out. Oh, well, you'd be right about that. We both stand in silence for a minute before Moon speaks again. Flame. Yeah? Do you think we'll see each other again after this? I don't know what I can say to that. I don't make those decisions, but considering how Sun and Moon have been to me, it would be nice to see them more often. Actually, thinking about it makes me remember something else. Well, I don't make those choices here, but I know the Glamrocks all have their designated mechanics. I just barely noticed Moon's expression brightening slightly. Maybe if I get some more time here, I could ask about that? If it helps, Sunny and I could put in a good word for you. That would definitely help. Thanks. Look back at the screen, feeling a bit of new motivation. Ready? Moon nods, and I turn the lights back on, wasting no time going to the last few cables that need sorting. Before I can even move, Sun picks me up and places me on my 2 feet himself. Looking up, I can see him smiling down at me, his hands on my shoulders. Hey, Sun. Hello. So what do you think of my new little, my little designated mechanic idea? That was supposed to be me speaking. It's a great idea, but until then, please stop by whenever you can, okay? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Sun's expression brightens, his rays retracting and expanding in what I think is safe to describe as joy. We both stand in silence for a moment, and I glance back at the computer. All I have left to do is turn on the lights, test the last generator, and then I'm home free. I think Sun notices my gaze, as he lets go of my shoulder and lightly nudges me to the computer. Go on, Flame. I'm sure you want to go home, right? Oh, that was not me. I'm sure you want to go home, right? I shrug. It would be nice to go pass out for a few hours. What about you, though? Well, I won't be leaving anytime soon. I still have plenty to do to prepare for tomorrow when we are open. That makes sense. Better to start. I can't talk. Decided to quit stalling and turn off the lights for the last time, Sun standing behind me as I do so. As usual, the daycare is cloaked in droning ambience, and I can clearly hear the attendance mechanisms behind me as Sun transforms into Moon again. You ready? Moon nods, already walking ahead. Small question. Would you mind if we walked you out of here? Just in case that person is still around somewhere. As I follow him, I get flashbacks to just a few hours ago. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, thanks. It's the least we could do. The USH generator is at ground level, so it doesn't take long for us to find it. I still have to tell Vanessa about the whole thing later, too. That's true. Whenever I come back here, I'll keep you and Sun updated. Scooting over to the generator, the switch. To my absolute surprise, it works. After switching it off, Moon and I exit the structure in silence. So this is it, huh? Moon nods as he walks back to the desk. I follow. I look at the computer screen before glancing back at Moon. Looking goodbye. Ignoring the computer for now, I wrap my arms around Moon's torso in a tight hug. He freezes for a moment, most likely not expecting it. He eventually hugs me back, though, gently placing his hand on my back. Stay like that for a minute. I'm practically leaning into him, and I feel his hands lightly gripping the back of my shirt. I do let go eventually, though, smiling up at Moon as I'm about to turn the lights on. Moon smiles back, his arms crossed. Ah, look at him! My hand on the computer mouse, I glance back at Moon for the last time. See you, Moon. Moon smiles slightly, his head tilted a bit. Goodbye, Flame. The daycare is lit up again, and I watch as Moon transforms into the sun. Not a word leaves his mouth. So, ready to head out? He shrugs, fidgeting with his hands. I guess. This would be my first time out of the daycare, which is exciting. Yep. I go to pick up my stuff and make sure I'm not forgetting anything as I walk to the door next to the desk. Sun goes ahead and moves some of the makeshift barricade away. I gesture for him to follow me before I push the button on the wall, taking a few steps back when the door opens. As we're making our way to a nearby staff-only room, I glance back at Sun, who seems almost mesmerized at our surroundings. I don't blame him. He's never been able to see the rest of the pizzaplex through his own eyes until now. The staff-only room is pretty mundane, but Sun is lighting up at every detail. He seems to snap out of it once we reach the exit, though. His eyes are back on the door, and he's back to fidgeting with his hands. Last hug. Dropping my stuff on the floor, I charge at Sun with a hug, making him stumble back a bit. He seems almost stunned for a moment before picking me up and squeezing me back, laughing. I lightly kick my feet back and forth in the air, just savoring the moment before I have to leave. Sun steps ahead of me for me to hold the door at the nearly empty parking lot, waiting outside. Thanks, Sun. No problem. After taking a few steps outside, I look back at him, waving my free hand. He waves back, energetic as ever. Goodbye, Flame. Bye. Continuing my walk to my car, hearing the door close behind me and the faint sound of bells slowly fading away. I get to my car without any problems, placing my belongings on the passenger seat before starting the engine. I can feel the small headache coming on as I back out of my spot, but I'm sure it's nothing some sleep won't fix. As I'm leaving, though, I notice something in my rearview mirror, or at least I think I do. When I look, there's nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I decided I want to go home before I pass out behind the wheel, so I keep my eyes on the road, leaving the pizzaplex behind me for the night. Okay. So that was the good ending, I believe. Because nothing bad happened to us, so I assume there's a bad ending, and then something else. So I'm going to jump back into the game, and I am going to look for how to get both other endings. So let's do that. Okay, so we've already done all this, but there was something else I wanted to do, which, oh look at Sun, which was to investigate the small room, because we did not do this before. The hole in the wall is just big enough for me to crawl through. Dust greets me on the other side. Lots of dust. Dreading the oncoming sneezing fit, I take a quick look around the small room. Some Glamrock's drawings occupy the wall, boxes cover the floor, and clothing racks join the drawings. There's also a random wooden board. And is this space a storage room or something? What catches my eye the most, though, is a Soul arcade machine in the far left corner. It's really dusty and looks like it hasn't been touched in decades. Above the screen reads the title of the game, Balloon World. Despite the game clearly being abandoned for a while, the title still flashes between a leaderboard and a screen reading insert coin in a pixel font. I don't have my wallet on me right now, otherwise I would give the game a try. Maybe I can return before I leave if I have the time. For now, there's not much else to see here. However, as I make my way back through the hole, I notice that the lights in Sun and Moon's rooms are out. Actually, scratch that, they're just gone. The lights burned out. I jump slightly, turning to see Moon standing right next to me, holding the coiled up lights as he goes to sit in a beanbag chair. Oh. Can't say I'm surprised. Don't tell anyone to say this. but the people in charge of this place aren't down to splurge. Oh. Wait, what? So then... Hmm. Okay, so we must be able to play the arcade machine, but... Hmm. Yeah, because we've already seen all this. We saw this when we didn't investigate the room. Oh, I don't know. Moon. Okay, so Okay, so we're just gonna skip ahead to get the bad ending, and then I'm gonna try to see if along the way I can find the key or coin or something. Because so far I've played through the game twice now. Once in the playthrough that you all saw, which was the good ending, and then now to try to get the bad ending. And I didn't come across a coin at all, so I'm not sure. You'd be surprised. Doubt it. I'm about to switch the light back on when Moon's alarm goes off. Okay, so this is different. This is different. Because last time, we did not get an alert to, supposedly, Vanny. He snaps his gaze to the massive doors next to the desk as the cable drops. Give me some time to deal with this. If I'm not back in a few minutes, fix the next generator and get out. I didn't get a chance to respond before Moon leaves in a hurry, hovering above the barriers and disappearing from sight. Time to play the waiting game, I guess. I wonder what he got alerted to anyway. Can't be that kid again, right? Actually, now that I think about it, I know next to nothing about that whole mess. Could be worth asking Vanessa about. About 10 minutes pass while I scroll away on my phone, trying to kill time and wait for Moon to return. I'm not sure what counts as a few minutes, but it's starting to feel like too much time. Is it smart to try leaving this place alone when Moon was alerted? I don't know. He did say to get out if he didn't come back soon, though. You know what? The longer I'm here by myself, the more of a sitting duck I am. Chances are I can make a mad dash out and tell Moon some other time that I didn't feel safe sticking around. I make sure to set the command to turn the lights on before gathering my stuff and leaving by my desk for me to grab when I'm done. Make a quick drop next to the last few cables. Oh crap! Hold on. I hop up onto my feet before speedwalking to the desk and turn off the lights for the last time. Keeping a tight grip on my flashlight, I speedwalk to the structures to find the final generator. I can kind of narrow it down to where it would be after having Moon help me in finding them separate times. It's a bit of a process and I make a few wrong turns here and there, but I'm able to find it on my own. Flipping the switch, a wave of relief washes over me when the LED flashes to green and then the generator powers on without any problems. With the last test run done, I flip the switch back off and waste no time getting out of the structure and back to the desk. I press the button on the wall to open the door, bag in hand, and walk out while constantly checking my surroundings for anything that looks suspicious. Staff-only door enters my view, and my pace quickens to a jog. I use my temporary ID to get in, finally ending my night here and being free to go home. And after another staff-only door, I met with the cool night air once I step into the massive parking lot. Sparsely placed cars force the space to look a little less barren. A few lampposts illuminate the way to my car. Another headache rears its ugly head, but I consider it another effect of my 10 minutes of sleep. Key in hand, I slow my pace as I'm nearing the driver door. My head feels light when I press the button on my key to unlock the door. I grab the handle and notice something in the reflection of the driver door's window. Red eyes. Spinning around, I try swinging my fist at the familiar rabbit. She dodges. My vision becomes clouded in red and white. She violently grabs me by my neck, pinning me against the cart door, and I'm unable to move. I try to claw at her costumed hands, but as she gets disturbingly close to my face, her eyes practically blinding, it is only then that she speaks. Are you having fun yet? And with that, we've gotten both the good and the bad endings for After Hours. There is still a secret ending to get. However, I'm going to leave that all to you to get. I really enjoy this game, and I really want you all to play it too. But I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everyone!